Hello YouTube, how's it going? My name's Lee. Welcome to my channel, thedastardLeebatman, and today I'm going to be reviewing Cuckoo, which is a new film released by Neon, who just released Longlegs. They're having a heck of a year when it comes to horror this year, and I will be right back to let you know how I feel about it after I show you guys this clip.
Yeah?
Please let me in! Right now! Please!
Kom, ja.
Okay, so like I said, that was a clip from Cuckoo. It is a new film from Tillman Singer, directed by him and written by him. And it stars Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, Jessica Henwick, Martin Sokas, I think that's how you say it, Jan Bluthart, and Kaylin Morrow. So, what did I think of this movie? I really loved this one. If you love horror as much as I do, chances are you're gonna really dig this one. This movie is crazy. I would honestly say this really lives up to its title and more so, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, okay? So, this is Hunter Schafer's first film, and it's Dan Stevens' like, I don't even know, 100th or something like that. And both of them are pretty fantastic. I really do feel like this is a star-making turn for Hunter Schafer. I think she was really great in this. She's definitely off to like a good start with her career as far as the movie stuff goes. I think she's really good in Euphoria. From what I watched that show, I have mixed feelings on how I feel about Euphoria overall, but one thing I will say about that show is the performances are always like really solid. So, you know, it makes sense that like Hollywood is trying them out in movies and stuff. And just like her other co-star in Euphoria, Sydney Sweeney, I think going into horror for like a big movie like this is, you know, I think going to horror for like your first feature film is like a smart idea, you know. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if she does more horror after this. I think she was really good in this, and she holds it down, right? She's got to play like a pretty, like, you know, solidly complex character for what the film allows. She's, you know, in grief and mourning and stuff, and she's just like a really angry, and to be honest with you, there's some stuff in this movie that, you know, I think with a less talented actress would really make her come across like really unlikable, you know. But I think Hunter Schafer was really able to like get past that. She's extremely likable in this movie, even though she does a lot of stuff that normally would be like, I'd be like, okay, what's your freaking problem? Like, I know this happened to you, but like, calm the hell down. But I think it's a testament to how well this movie's written, as well as like how well it's like directed and stuff, you know, and also to Hunter Schafer's performance, that she never really does come off as unlikable, which is, you know, and even if she did come off as unlikable, you know, that's also a fair choice in any kind of movie. I don't think main characters have to necessarily be likable. Something I picked up on when the movie was over. I was like, oh, you know, normally I think I wouldn't like this person. But anyway, let's move on to Dan Stevens. So Dan Stevens, he's like the head of this resort that Hunter Schafer's family moves to. And immediately when he shows up, you're like, okay, this guy's fucking weird. There's some weird stuff going on in this for sure. And he's so good in this. He's got a really cool German accent, and he gets to kind of, once again, flex that he speaks German fluently. And he does speak some German in this, not as much as you would think. But he's got a really cool way of talking. As a matter of fact, I was really torn between which clip I was going to show for the review, because there's one clip of him like talking to Hunter Schafer, but I didn't want to show that one. I feel like it, I don't know, I just don't want to show it because I just think like you should go into the movie and see that scene play out for itself within the context, because I think it really works really well. I think the other clip is better to showcase kind of the idea of what this movie is like. You know, Dan Stevens, so he's always been fantastic and stuff. I've been a fan of him really since like The Guest came out 10 years ago. And I am always down to see him in literally anything, and I really hope he gets to keep doing cool, interesting characters like this. I think he always crushes it, and it's always nice whenever he pops up in anything. So anyway, and his character's got a lot of like just interesting stuff going on with him, and that's all I'll say, because I feel like if I say anything about his character besides what I've already said, it's kind of giving away a lot that's going on with this movie. But he is running this resort. It's kind of like he's a preservationist. That's all I'll say. So that's interesting little thing for him. So I will say, I really love, speaking of which, this movie is shot in a European resort, and this movie is really, really beautiful, right? It's got some gorgeous locations, but beyond that, I really like the way this movie looks, especially in terms of the color. I feel like the color in this film really, really pops. And because of that, it gives it like this really unique atmosphere. I really like the way that like blood and stuff looks in this movie as well. And they do a lot of, like, speaking of the blood, they do a lot of really practical effects in this that I think makes the movie look even better. Because I think, like, if they hadn't have done, like, some of that stuff practically, it would have looked a little cheap. And going back to Hunter Schafer a little bit, there's, like, a part where she's upside down and there's some blood going, and, it's going, like, directly in her eye, and I'm pretty sure that's just all practical. I don't think they could have CGI'd that. I mean, maybe they could have, but I don't think this movie at this budget level would have done that. And kudos to her for doing that, because that's gotta be like difficult, because I hate stuff going in my eye, to be honest. So yeah, the very good practical effects, and I think like the woman in the cloak or whatever is a really cool, fun design as well. I don't want to say too much about that character either, but she is sort of kind of like the main antagonist. She was in the clip. Just like, this movie's crazy, and this is one of the few times where one of the few reviews where I feel like I am going to have a hard time really getting across some of my feelings, just because I can't talk about a lot of stuff that happened in this movie, because I feel like it would ruin it. And I want people to go into this and experience it for... my camera's like freaking out at me, but you know what? We'll just deal with it. I want people to go into this as blind as possible. Even if you haven't seen a trailer for this, then great. Go see this immediately. Don't have anything ruined for you. But if you have seen a trailer, I gotta say, there's still tons and tons and tons of surprises, and the way that things like, unravel throughout this movie is, like, in my opinion, it's really engaging, and it keeps you engaged the entire runtime. I was never bored, and I always wanted to know what's going on. And they do explain some things here and there, but it's like just enough to where it doesn't steep into like ridiculousness, because there's some really interesting ideas going on in this, I'll say, that could really come across as like super goofy, and in some ways they kind of do. But for the most part, because of the way that like they deliver the information in this movie, it keeps you engaged in the movie. I feel like it never took me out of it. You know what I mean? I feel like I was always in this movie. There was never any time when like they said something that was so outlandish that it took me out of it. One of the things I gotta say with this movie is, this is not a giallo film, because when I say this, people are going to think, oh, it's kind of like a giallo. It is not. But it really reminds me of like some Argento stuff, especially like I noticed like with the way like the blood was colored sometimes, it reminded me of Argento stuff. And that's just because of like how like crazy, like the crazy directions his movies will go sometimes. If you've ever seen any of his movies, like say like Phenomena, for example, that movie goes in some wild fucking directions. And this movie, I feel, kind of does the same thing. So if you like something like Phenomena, I think you'll really, really dig this movie. All that being said, I gotta say, this is a great directorial effort from Tillman Singer. Now he does have another movie he directed before this, but this is only his second film. His other film is called Lose. I think it's on Shudder, and I'm gonna check that out as soon as I can, because I really dug this a lot, and I'm very much looking forward to anything this guy does from here on out, because this was so fun and engaging, and it's got like a really good style to it as well. And there's also a really neat thing that they do that's like a little trick. There's an aspect of this movie that like messes with characters' minds a little bit, and the way that they execute that in this movie was really, in my opinion, like really unique and engaging and disorienting as well. Especially the first time it happened, I was like, yo, what is going on right now? I thought maybe like the projection or something messed up. It was hilarious. So anyway, so kudos to that. If there's anything that I didn't like about the movie, I gotta say, is that I don't think Jessica Henwick is in this enough. I really like, especially since they dropped 4 character posters, which you saw earlier in my review. I gotta say, I thought she was gonna be like one of the main characters, and she kind of is, but she's really not in it that much. She's got some interesting stuff that goes on, and there's some really interesting developments with her character. Some really like horrifying developments if you really think about it. I feel like women watching this movie in particular are going to be like, yo, what the hell? Just really scary stuff as far as that goes. And the other thing is, there's a detective character in this. His name is played by Jen Bluthart. I gotta say, I thought he was like really good. His performance is really good, but there's just like a aspect of his like character, like introduction, I'll say, that I thought was like could have been handled like a little better. But overall, I thought this film was fantastic. I had a really good time. It was extremely fun to watch. Fun gore effects, really interesting and engaging like sequences. And it's also just really, really unique. There's not a lot of movies that are like this out there. This is wholly original, in my opinion. So, because of that, I'm going to have to give Cuckoo 4 stars out of 5. Really loved this one. I thought it was fantastic. And you should head out and go see this in theaters this weekend instead of Borderlands. I am going to see Borderlands on Sunday. I will have my review up for that next week after my Rebel Moon review. Hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if you've seen this or anything, you're watching this in the future or whatever, feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of Cuckoo. Was it Cuckoo enough for you? It sure was enough for me. I liked this a lot. And, you know, be sure to like and subscribe if you liked this video. Got lots and lots of more stuff coming. I actually just now got into the 2XKO alpha, so I'll be playing that and hopefully putting some videos up on that. Speaking of that, I do stream over on Twitch. If you head on over to twitch.tv/DastardLeebatman, you can watch my streams there. My stream schedule is non-existent. I just go live when I can, so, you know, if you catch me live, then hang out for a little bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Peace. Have a good night or day.